Imagine getting a raise, only to feel just as broke 6 months later. Now imagine that happening again and again. Around the world, millions of people work hard every single day, yet they still live paycheck to paycheck. They earn more than they did 5 years ago, but somehow, they never seem to get ahead. So where does all the money go? Is it because people don't work hard enough? Or is there an invisible system quietly keeping them trapped? The answer isn't what most people think. And once you understand it, you'll never look at money the same way again. For many people, payday feels like taking a deep breath after being underwater. Bills get paid. The fridge gets filled. Maybe there's enough left for dinner out or a small treat. Then, just days later, the money starts disappearing. Rent, electricity, fuel, groceries, phone bills, subscriptions, unexpected expenses. Before long, the bank account is nearly empty again, and the countdown to the next paycheck begins. This cycle has become so normal that many people believe it's simply how life works. But here's the surprising part. Living paycheck to paycheck isn't always about earning too little. In fact, many high-income earners face exactly the same problem. Some doctors, lawyers, engineers, even professional athletes have gone bankrupt despite earning millions. So if more money doesn't always solve the problem, what does? To answer that, we have to go back to where the trap begins. When we think about money, we usually focus on income. People say things like, "I just need a better job. If I earned another $1,000 a month, everything would be fine." Sometimes that's true, but often, something else happens. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. Imagine buying your first car. At first, it feels amazing. A few years later, it feels normal. Then you start wanting something newer, something bigger, something faster. The same thing happens with houses, clothes, phones, vacations, even coffee. As income grows, spending quietly grows with it. This idea is closely connected to what's known as the hedonic treadmill, a concept studied by psychologists. People quickly adapt to improvements in their lives, so what once felt exciting soon becomes ordinary. Here's a real-world example. After launching Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg became one of the richest people in the world. Yet for years, he drove a modest Acura TSX and lived in a relatively simple home before expanding his real estate portfolio. On the other hand, countless lottery winners have gone broke within just a few years. Researchers have documented many cases where sudden wealth disappeared because spending rose just as quickly as income. The amount of money changed. The habits didn't. But that's only part of the story. Because even people who try to save often find themselves falling behind. Why? Walk into any supermarket. The milk and bread are usually at the back. Why? Because you'll walk past hundreds of other products before reaching them. That's not an accident. It's psychology. Businesses spend billions of dollars every year studying human behavior. Companies like Amazon make buying almost effortless with one-click purchasing. Streaming services automatically renew subscriptions. Credit card companies encourage spending now and paying later. Advertising surrounds us every day. According to marketing researchers, the average person is exposed to thousands of advertising messages daily, though estimates vary depending on how exposure is measured. Each one is competing for a small piece of your attention and your wallet. Here's where things get interesting. Most purchases aren't logical. They're emotional. Feeling stressed? Shopping offers a temporary dopamine boost. Feeling successful? You celebrate with something expensive. Feeling left behind? Social media shows friends traveling, buying homes, and driving luxury cars. Suddenly, your perfectly good life doesn't seem good enough. Economist Thorstein Veblen described something similar more than a century ago. People often buy things not just for usefulness, but to signal status. Today, social media has amplified that pressure. You're no longer comparing yourself to your neighbors. You're comparing yourself to the entire internet. And that's a game almost nobody can win. But even if you resist all of that, there's another force working against you. One that's much harder to notice. Imagine earning $50,000 a year. 5 years later, your salary increases to $55,000. Sounds like progress. But what if your rent increased by 20%? Groceries became 30% more expensive. Insurance costs climbed. Fuel prices rose. Suddenly, that raise doesn't feel like a raise anymore. That's inflation. A simple example makes it clear. If a burger cost $2 10 years ago but costs $5 today, your money buys fewer burgers than it used to. During the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath, inflation reached levels many countries hadn't seen in decades. Rising energy prices, supply chain disruptions, and strong consumer demand all pushed prices higher. Central banks responded by raising interest rates to slow inflation. But many families had already felt the squeeze. This creates a frustrating cycle. People ask for higher wages. Companies face higher costs. Some businesses raise prices. And the pressure continues. Experts debate exactly how much each factor contributes, but most agree that inflation can quietly erode purchasing power over time. And here's the painful part. If your savings aren't growing faster than inflation, you're actually losing purchasing power, even if your bank balance stays the same. This is why simply saving money isn't always enough. Which brings us to the biggest difference between people who stay trapped and those who eventually escape. Most people spend first, then save whatever is left. Wealthy people often reverse the process. They save or invest first, then spend what's left. It sounds simple, but over decades, the difference becomes enormous. Take Warren Buffett. He's famous not just for investing well, but for patience. Much of his wealth came from the power of compound growth over many decades, not overnight success. Albert Einstein is often quoted as calling compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said those exact words is debated by historians, but the principle remains powerful. Imagine planting a tree. For years, it barely seems to grow. Then, one day, it's towering over everything around it. Money invested consistently works in a similar way. The hardest part isn't investing. It's giving compound growth enough time. Another powerful idea comes from author George Clason in The Richest Man in Babylon. He wrote, "Pay yourself first. Not because it makes you rich instantly, but because it changes your identity. Instead of treating saving as an afterthought, it becomes a priority." Small automatic habits can be surprisingly powerful. Setting up an automatic transfer on payday. Avoiding high-interest debt whenever possible. Building an emergency fund. Learning valuable skills that increase earning potential. None of these ideas are exciting on their own, but together, they can completely change a financial future. And that's exactly why so many people overlook them. They're searching for a shortcut, when the real answer is consistency. So why do so many people stay trapped? Because the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle isn't caused by just one problem. It's a combination of many. Lifestyle inflation quietly expands spending. Advertising constantly encourages consumption. Social comparison makes enough feel like never enough. Inflation reduces purchasing power over time. And small financial habits, repeated for years, shape the outcome more than occasional big decisions. The truth is that escaping the trap rarely happens because of one lucky break. It usually happens because someone changes the direction of tiny decisions made every single month. Those decisions don't feel dramatic, but over 10 or 20 years, they can lead to completely different lives. The paycheck-to-paycheck trap isn't built overnight, and it isn't escaped overnight either. It's created by thousands of small choices, repeated over years. But the same is true for financial freedom. Every dollar saved, every unnecessary purchase avoided, every new skill learned, every investment made for the future. Each one is a small vote for the life you want tomorrow. The biggest difference between people who remain stuck and those who eventually build wealth isn't always intelligence, luck, or even income. More often, it's understanding how the system works and choosing not to let it control their decisions. Because in the end, financial freedom isn't about earning the biggest paycheck. It's about keeping more of what you earn, making your money work for you, and refusing to stay on a treadmill that never stops moving.